Hi there. Today I'm going to make pork sausage, and I'm starting out with about a 10-pound Boston butt that was about $14, and I'm not going to use all of that, so I'm going to make about 3 pounds of sausage. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this up and get right back to you here. Okay, so I've cut up my shoulder now into 3 pieces. This big piece on the end has the bone in it, and then I've got this other end piece and the center piece. And I'll probably make barbecue out of that one. Not sure what I'm going to do with this one. But I'm going to save those 2 pieces, and I'm going to get to work cutting this up into little cubes, about an inch or maybe a little less, and cut it off the bone. And I'll see you after I've cubed this up. Okay, so I've cubed up the meat. I've got a little bit of I've got a bone left over, which is going to be real nice and soup and all. But one thing I forgot to mention, when you're making this, it's a good idea because it's pretty lean, and by the way, use all the fat you can. I've got right here, I believe this is the trimmings from one of those Virginia cured hams, the really salty thing. So I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning before I use this, or whenever I put this together, because I want to just make a tiny batch with some of this and see how it's going to work out. I'm not sure. And if it doesn't, I'll just add fatback. But if you're using fatback, you would rinse all the salt off of it, and you would put a bunch of fatback in here right now. So let's go ahead and spice this thing up. And then we're going to let it sit in the fridge overnight. So what I'm going to do now, one thing that I'm missing here that a lot of people use is fennel seed. But we have people in this house who really don't care for fennel seed, so I'm just going to omit that. But if you want fennel seed, put fennel seed in there. I'm putting crushed red pepper in here right now, and that's going to give it a little bit of that hot bite to it. So I'm just going to eyeball it to what I think's right. And then I'm going to go with some salt and pepper. And you can use whatever spices you want to. Now this is going to go for, not only is it going to be, for me, it's going to be breakfast sausage, and it's also going to be Italian sausage to use on pizza. So I don't want to go too crazy. For breakfast sausage, I would put a little brown sugar in there. Now, I'm just going to use a little bit of nutmeg. It's better if you've got the nut and the rasp, but I don't have that. And I'm going to use a good amount of sage in this too, because sausage is good with sage. So basically that's about what I've got for this. I'm going to go ahead and add some salt. I just added the pepper, I'm pretty sure. So just add a little salt. I'm not going to go crazy, because in the morning after this is sat all night and soaked in, I'll make a test batch and just make a really small one to begin with. Now, should be wearing gloves, don't have them, but my hands are extremely clean. But you just kind of get it all in there, work it through, and once you've got it all worked in, and seems like it is, I think I might want to add a couple more things, the same, because the quantity just doesn't seem to be there. There's a lot of meat here. So I'll probably go with a little bit more crushed pepper, and what I didn't show you was cayenne. I'm going to use a little cayenne in that too. And then I'm just going to cover this with plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator and let it sit overnight. And we will see you in the morning when this is coming out, and I'll either put it in the meat grinder, or you can also use a food processor. Either one will work just fine. More people have food processors than have a meat grinder. So I'll make that decision in the morning. And I'll see you back here shortly. Okay, I'm ready to make my sausage now. I've got my mix. It's been sitting actually for a couple of days. I have this fat that I'm going to use, but that's from some country ham, so I'm not sure how that's going to taste. If that doesn't work out, I'm going to go and run to the store and grab some fatback. Typically you can use a food processor. I have one of these KitchenAid mixers, have access to that with a meat grinder, so I've gone and put the fine blade in the meat grinder end and put a bowl down below, and I'm just going to spin out a real quick little test batch with some of this fat in it, and fry that up real quick and see how that tastes, and get right back to you. Okay, so I've got my 2 little test patties going. Not a whole lot of fat in this pan going on, as you can see from the smoking. Probably should add some oil too. Usually if you put enough fat back in these, you don't need any oil at all. But this Boston butt tends to be a little lean, so you definitely want to put some fat to it. Okay, let me check these out and we'll go on from there. Okay, I've gone ahead and ground everything up. My hands were a little bit, shall we say, not something I wanted to handle the camera with while I was grinding it, so I just went ahead and fed it all into the meat grinder and let it all come out right here. So we got a nice good batch, and after I cooked the test batches, I decided to add a little bit more flavor to it, which you know, this is why you make a test batch, add a little flavor, and I'll show you the finished one here in a little bit. Okay, here's a final look at a piece of sausage here. In that recipe that I used, I would definitely say go with the fatback, because what I used is some seasoning trimmed fat from a Virginia cured ham, and that's kind of a little interesting taste. I don't know that it goes all that well with sausage, but I would just go with the fatback. I've made this several times, and that's usually a really good way to go. So anyway, there it is, a pork sausage from Boston butt, shoulder portion of pork, and usually comes out really good. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in another video.